What I'm going to show you today is how to bone out a hind quarter, but to leave it all intact, because when the bone's in, you can hang the quarter really easily. And what that does is allows the meat to cool. Now, of course, I would normally do something like this in the field, but I'm doing it here in my backyard with a deer that I just got a couple days ago. The first step is when you end up cutting the leg. Where the foot comes in, there's two joints. Now, I cut these both different ways to kind of demonstrate where this joint is. This tiny bone will hold all the tendons and all the meat together. Essentially, where I'm cutting this off is below the part that bends. There's actually a small hairline joint there that allows all this to stick together. This is really the crux of the whole operation, is cutting this joint off in the correct place. So I kind of find it with a sharp knife, even just the scalpel, this Gerber scalpel type knife, works perfect for this. My first cut will be down, separating the meat from the bone. I'm just working my way around. I make a cut so I can get to the bone, then I just start cutting around, following my knife edge to the bone, making sure not to cut too far down here. I just cut right to where the cartilage around the knee is. So I follow the bone up. The bone is pretty much out, so now I'm just gonna continue following this around and just keeping my knife as close to the bone. There's a tiny little bone that'll stay in here, it's the kneecap. That just helps keep everything together. This bone could now almost be completely cut out and freed without removing any ligaments that attach the meat. At this point, this bone is essentially free. I can just cut the connective tissue that is not touching the meat and be able to remove the femur bone. Femur bone is now removed. The bottom ham of this is now boneless. In the field, when you're way in the backcountry, especially on an early season hunt, removing the bones is a great way to help the meat cool down. We're now gonna try to remove this bone. I like to start by cutting up at the top, leaving it connected down here, because I'll cut that off here in a second. When I get toward the top, I try to keep any tendon running up along the bone. I get my knife underneath it and keep the tendons attached. That's what's gonna end up holding everything together in the end. Then I can continue to remove the bone from the shank. All right, now that I have the top part removed, I can remove it here at the joint and start working my way down. So first I'm gonna make my cuts down at the knee. There's a long band that goes around the knee. I'm gonna keep that band there, and that'll hold the top and bottom pieces together. This rolling motion really exposes most of the tendons that I'll need. The whole goal here is to remove the bones, not the meat, and you have very, very little waste using this method. Okay, so now at this point, I've removed it, and the bone, everything is connected right here. So all I have to do is where this joint is, where it's moving, I now just keep the tendons past that and remove this bone, and everything will be ready to hang. Find the joint with your knife and just follow that joint, and it'll come out real easy. Keep it hanging, keep it clean and cool, and zero loss of meat.